Hello all. We are here today with our Isabella workshop. What you will need with this workshop is the coordinating cardstock, the Isabella paper and sticker sheet, the Isabella Picture My Life cards, and the Isabella acrylic shapes. These are available. They're available until September 1st, and then later on down the line they will pop back up if they have anything left in stock. I did an extra little shaker embellishment on this, and so if you wanted to do the shaker with me, you'll need some sequins. I used the bluebell sequins, and I also used a few of our pink hearts. Again, these are all still available, but they'll be going soon. And then I also used a flip flap right there. I also used some night splatter spray, and I'm not going to do that on camera. Well, I could do that. The splatter spray is something that I kind of like to take outside. So we'll do it. We'll do it at the end. So we're going to go on and get started. And the way my workshops work is that I have you put all of your base pages on little shelves. And I'll move this around so I'll move my shelves into frame. So I have these little shelves close to my heart. My heart also sells these shelves. Ours are black, really heavy duty, thick black shelves. Once you purchase them, they will last you forever. I also get these from somewhere along the line because I need a whole bunch of them. But anyway, nevertheless, pages 1 and 2, we're going to go on and kick out your coordinating cardstock. Pages 1 and 2 are White Daisy. Pages 3 and 4, so this is 1 and 2, just so you can get an eyeball of what you're looking at. So that's page 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is the gray cardstock. It's not Whisper anymore. It used to be Whisper, but that's gray. So that's your pages 3 and 4. And this is what my 3 and 4 looks like. And I will have pictures of all of these within the group. 5 and 6 is Sage. This is actually one of my favorite colors, and I'm not even a green fan, but I love this Sage. And here is this one. And then 7 and 8 is my leftover page. So this is all of the leftovers that we had. I tried to use up most everything we had, and this is the blue bird paper. So that's 7 and 8. And so the rest of this we will cut up. All right, so let's get started. And the first thing that we always have to do, let's see, make sure I'm in frame. Let me scoot this up just a little bit. All right, the first thing that we always have to do is cut our zip strips off. Zip strips are, and I'm sorry if you've heard this a time or two, if you've done workshops with me for a while. Here's our sticker sheet. We can set that off to the side. Zip strips are these extra 1/2 inch strip at the top of all the paper. They're decorative, so we do use them. On the back side, it's got the name of the collection. It's got all the colors used in the collection, and it's got our brandings. So a lot of people call these branding strips. We call them zip strips. What I like to hang on to some of these if we don't use them all up in the workshop, what I like to have them for is because it does have the name of all of the colors that we used in here. That way, if you have some scraps, and if you have that left, when you go to pull your scraps back out and you want to play some more, if you don't have any cardstock, it's really easy. Instead of looking at all your cardstock and trying to figure out what matches what, you can just look at it straight away and know what's what. So we're going to cut all those zip strips off. They're all a 1/2 inch, so just go on and take a 1/2 inch off. Even though they measure to a 1/2 inch, I always try to eyeball as well, because sometimes, I don't know if it's them or me, if you measure just a little bit on the line, above the line, or below the line, sometimes you tend to get just a little bit that you don't want. So I do try to double check myself. The other thing to do, and this is one of those do as I say, not as I do as I say, not as I do things. It's also great, like if you notice, it's a little bit better if you can put your trimmer to the top and pull down. The reason for that is because you have more of a lip right here to push the paper against, so you have less chance of wobbling your paper to and fro. And you'll see me, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It just depends on how much of a hurry I get in. When I'm going up though, I always do make sure to hold the paper down really well so that I don't end up accidentally moving it, because the first time that you don't, guess what? You're gonna move it. All right, so let's go on and start with these zip strips. Are you with me, Noelle?
Yeah.
All right, so the 2 gray zip strips, one goes on page 1 and one goes on page 2. So what you're gonna do, and again, I'm gonna bring this into frame. So I've got all my paper in there. So you're gonna slide page 1, page 2, you're gonna slide everything where I tell you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you're gonna slide everything on the appropriate page. And then when you're done, it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Everything that you need is on the page that you need it on. So it's easy to start assembling. All right, now these sage zip strips are also going to go one on page 1 and one on page 2. Oh, I missed the spot there. All right, and I did not write if I did anything with these 2 zip strips, so I'm just going to take a quick peek at my pages that would have had those, and I do not see them. That doesn't mean you throw them away though. Still hang on to those. I actually use an old Pringles jar or Pringles can that I pop these in, because you can have some fun doing some projects with these later. All right, so now to get us started. Oh, the other thing that you'll need, we have a 3 set of these. If you're doing the shaker, you'll need a 3 set of these, and you'll need the shaker and window foam acetate to go with that. And all of those are in our online office. Okay, so the first thing that we are cutting is our chevron. One side is chevron, and the other side are these tiles. Let me again make sure I'm in frame. All right, so we are going to be cutting with the chevrons. Okay, so we're cutting, Donna, can you see? We're cutting this direction with the chevrons. All right, and you're cutting at 6 inches. You are correct. You are correct. Yep. Everybody here is on board. All right, and one of these goes on page 1 and one goes on page 2. Actually pretty easy. So far, so good. All right, so here's your other chevron tiles. Now this time we're cutting down down through the chevrons. So you can see that we're cutting this way. So we're cutting the opposite of what we did before. And you're going to cut at 6 inches. All right, so the 6 by 12 goes, it should be tile side up. Let me just double check that I'm right. Yep, tile side up on page 8. And then this piece that you have left, I want you to put it short in your trimmer. And when I say, when I'm giving my cutting directions, when I say put it short in your trimmer, that means the shorter end of the piece of paper is what you are actually going to be cutting against. So this one we are cutting at 10 inches. So you'll need to open that little arm on your trimmer and measure in and cut at 10 inches. All right, so this little piece that falls off, the 2-inch piece, is a scrap. Now, put your chevron piece back up tall in your trimmer. We are going to cut this on a diagonal. You are going to cut from the bottom left side to the top right side. And the way you do that is you want to position the bottom left-hand piece of your paper into the gutter, into the cutting ditch, whatever you want to call that. And I just like to hold it, and then I scoot the other corner in as well. All right, now before I cut anything, I move my fingers and look again to make sure it didn't wobble too much. Now the other trick to doing this is to start the blade in the center of the paper. Don't try to bump it up on the corner, because since that is just that little tiny piece of corner, sometimes it will catch it and it'll fold it back rather than cutting it. So I'll start in the center and then cut up and down. Okay, so the top left side goes on page 3, and the bottom right side goes on page 4. All right, so next I'm gonna have a little sip of drink, make sure my camera's still going. Very good. I'm happy for my phone. So if, I know Kathy knows she was here with me last night. I got hacked last week. It's been miserable. Facebook still does not trust me enough to go live, so I have to record on my phone, upload to YouTube, and then from YouTube I have to upload it to Facebook. So this has been fun. I don't know what I've got to do to get back, earn back their trust. All right, next we're cutting this blue medallion paper. One side is this blue medallion and the other side is the yellow checker. And we are going to be cutting, I'm going to say below the medallion. So it's going to be like you're cutting through the little lines that connect the medallions. So that's when I say through instead of with. When I say with the medallions, I'll mean like with the lines that go between the medallions. So, yep. Nope. Turn a quarter. Yep. All right. So first cut on this one. We're going to do this twice. We're going to cut at 3 inches 2 times. 3 by 12 2 times. All right. One of them goes on page 1 and one of them goes on page 2. All right, so now you're going to turn your medallion piece short in the trimmer, and you are going to cut it at 7 inches. All right, now take that 7-inch piece, turn it back tall in the trimmer again, and we're going to do the same thing with that diagonal. You're going to go from the bottom left side to the top right side. Bottom left side to top right side. And then keep track of where you cut it so I can tell you what goes where. All right, so the the top left side goes on page 3. The bottom right side goes on page 4. Now don't worry if it goes in the wrong spot, you'll figure it out. It'll just fit right or wrong. All right, so now we're back to our medallion piece. It's tall in the trimmer, so that means you're cutting with those little lines this time. All right, and we are going to cut at 2 inches. All right, and that 2 by 6, wasn't that lovely? I didn't say where it was going to go. I'm betting, yeah, that's going to be on page 7. We're going to go on and put it on page 7. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. Yeah. Okay. Anybody have a pen really handy? So I can just write this down because I will be uploading these cutting guides to my, that's perfect. I'm going to upload these cutting guides, A, to this group, and B, also to my team group, so that if any of my team wants to recreate this for their customers, they can. All right, so next medallion. Now this time we are going to be cutting.
Oh, so the extra pieces.
Yep, the extra pieces of scrap. All right, so this time we're cutting like through the little connector line. So we're cutting the opposite way of what we did the first one. Okay, everybody with me? Yep, I'm just triple checking. All right, your first cut is at 4 inches. And that 4 by 12 piece goes yellow side up on page 6. And now you are going to put your paper in the trimmer short. So now we're cutting with the lines, and you're going to cut at 10 inches. And that 8 by 10 goes on page 5, yellow side up. And then this remaining piece, and tell me something, why did I even care what direction it went in? Because we're using all the yellow squares. So it goes on page 7. So that means that the original piece that I had you put on 7 actually goes on 8. So I apologize for that. Cancel again. Thank you. Page 8. So I just confused which page was which on mine, which honestly, it's pretty easy. You can go either way you like. So we've got 7 and 8 that way. But it'll work fine if you wanted to move it that way as well. Although it works better that way. All right, so there we go. Next, we are going to cut the lemons and flour, my favorite. And we're going to cut this down. It doesn't matter which direction because we're not using the excess on this. So we're cutting it at 11 by 11. So just 1 inch off of each side. And those 2 little pieces that fell off are scraps. And that 11 by 11 goes on page 5. All right, so on this one is going to be directional. Well, if you care, actually. So I cut mine in this direction. I don't know if most of the ferns on the back side kind of go in one direction or the other. Can you tell that? Yeah. So I cut this direction. I cut. Oh, so they go kind of up and down like this. And I cut with the way they're up and down. But it really doesn't make a big hill of beans difference because it's going to look good either way. That's just the way I did mine. Okay, so cut it this way. All right, first cut is at 3 inches. All right, now turn that 3-inch piece short and cut it at 11. The little bitty piece that falls off is a scrap. The 3 by 11 goes on page 6. Lemons up. I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check. Oh, wait, nope. It's green up, it looks like. Yep, looks to be. Okay. Of course, if you like the lemons better, you flip it. That's okay too. All right, so your next cut is going to be at 4 inches. You're keeping it tall in the trimmer, and you're cutting at 4 inches. Oh, I lied. It is floral up. I found it. It is floral up. The 4x12 though that you just cut is the ferns up on page 6. So 4x6, 4x12 here. 4x12. Donna, you with me? Okay. Holler out if I'm leaving since okay. So this piece goes on page 6. All right, now keeping your paper in the trimmer tall, we are going to cut at 4 inches again. All right, and this goes with the leaves up on page 7. And what you have left is 1 inch. And I want you to turn that 1 inch piece short in the trimmer and cut it at 8. All right, and that 1x8 goes on page 6, leaves up. And then this little piece that fell off is a scrap. Whoop, whoop, we're just cutting through this cutting, aren't we? Yeah, man. All right, so next we're going to cut lemonade. And it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like you have some pink left over. Isn't that nice?
How did you do that?
I don't know. I don't have any pink mats. So if you, for your photos, because this is doing mats on this one, and it's doing mats here, and even though they are mats, they're kind of a pop. So if you prefer yellow or pink for these, then feel free to do that. So I'm going to pass these actually around to my ladies here. That way, if they decide they want to do something different, they can. So I'm going to give them a second to look and make sure that they don't want pink instead of yellow. But whichever color makes your heart joyous. Now on this particular set though, I did use, and let me show you guys at home if you're rewatching this later. There's the yellow. This one I feel like does lend better to the yellow though. And I will also say that I use the lighter side of the yellow in these because that bright side I think is bright for the softness that we have for the rest of the pages. Okay. But this one I really like the yellow because it goes perfectly with those lemons. So I'm going to pass this over to Noelle so she can take a gander if she wants to do yellow or pink. Oh, here's the other one. See, I think the yellow went really well with these. But like I said, I did use, you can see all of our cardstock, one side is darker and the other side is lighter. So it's great because it makes our color palette go from 40 to 80. Kind of like your Copics, you know how you have 3 different shades. Donna, did you see the difference in the pages using pink or yellow? Do you want to?
Yeah, just real quick. I'll probably use the yellow, but
I like the yellow.
Yep, I'm going with black.
Yeah, I felt. Everybody here is going with yellow still.
oh yeah, I've got your pictures.
Oh, okay. So okay. Yep. All right. Yellow it is then. All right. So your first cut Is it 6 3/4? 6 3/4? All right, now turn that 6 3/4.
Is that for the big?
Huh?
Is that gonna be for the big, the one that has? the
Yes.
four? None of my pictures are gonna be little.
Okay.
I'm not-
Okay, so turn this piece short and cut it at 6 3/4 again. All right, so that 6 3/4 by 6 3/4 goes on page 3. We're going to save this piece because this is what you're going to make your frame out of for page 1 if you're doing the shaker. If you're not doing the shaker, this is a scrap. If you're doing the shaker, you'll need this, and I'm going to go on and pop that on page 1 just so I know where it goes. All right, so your yellow goes back in the trimmer tall, and we're going to cut at 1/4 of an inch 2 times. So whenever I'm cutting on less than an inch, I like to measure on this side because it gives me more lip on, it gives me more lip. See, when it gives me lip, I have to fight back and cut it. But I'm joking, y'all. But see, you've got this little lip down here that the paper rides on, so it keeps it from moving as much when you're measuring those small pieces. Don't be giving me no lip paper. All right, so those go. One goes on page 3 and one goes on page 4. Really? I thought they both went on. Hang on. Nope, they both go on page 4. I lied. Both of those little strips go on page 4. I knew that was wrong as soon as I saw that. Kathy just needs to give me her pencil for good. Page 4. Okay, I'll just leave this right here. All right, so now what's left, we're keeping this in the trimmer tall, and now we're cutting it at 3 inches. All right, and that 3-inch piece goes on page 5. And then the little 1 3/4 inch piece is a scrap. We're gonna move on to our second lemonade. And these are all going to be mats for 3x4 pictures and 4x6 pictures. And I tried to keep everything to be 3x4 or 4x6 because they are, I feel like, so easy to have your pictures those sizes. All right, so your first cut is going to be, oh, maybe that's a little larger. So 3.5 by 5. And let me just double check. Again, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Oh yeah, I did do these a little bit odd, but that's okay. We can do it. They're still large enough to work it out. Okay, so your first cut is at 3 3/4. All right, now turn your 3 3/4 piece short and cut it at 5 2 times. And the little piece that falls off the bottom is a scrap, and both of those 3 3/4 by 5 go on page 6. So this means you're going to have a 3 1/2 by 4 3/4 photo. And that is right here. When I did this page, this sketch called for just 4 pictures that were all 3x4s, but I couldn't cut my baby's faces down that much, so I made mine a little bigger. Well, obviously even a little bit bigger than that. Okay, we're going with it.
Might wait till I see what
Okay,
pictures-
so those are going to go on. Well, and that's, you can keep it with the kit, so that way you can cut your mats later. All right, so those go on page 6. And now we're going to put your paper back in the trimmer tall. And you are going to cut at 3 1/4. Now turn that 3 1/4 short in the trimmer and cut it at 3 3/4 twice. So these are a little bit of an odder size than usual, but you will get over it. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's right. It'll be fun.
We'll do it some other way.
That's right. Or no, I'll just do it some other way. All right, so these both go on page 6. And now with your remaining large piece, you're going to put that in the trimmer tall, and you're going to cut it at 4 1/4. Now this is the one, I know for sure this is for a 4x6, y'all. See, the problem is I do these classes usually a month in advance. So it's been a month since I created this. So can I remember exactly what I did? You know I don't. All right, now this one goes on page 2.
Is it cut by 6 1/4?
4 1/4 by 6 1/4 for page 2. Yep. All right. So guess what? We just make sure. Looks like you are all finished cutting. Now we have to go through with your Picture My Life card. So hold tight. Hold tight. Hold tight. We're going to put this away for a minute. And let's get these bubbas out.
I love these.
Aren't they pretty? All right, so obviously, where are we at? Get that straight. Obviously, you can change this to any way you like, but here is what I did. I used this sage leaves with, I guess, like a little lemon. One side is sage and one side is gray.
Is that the big ones or the little ones?
I'm sorry, this is the 4x6.
Okay.
All right, and that went on page 1. And then I used, hold up, let me see if I had a flip flap on here. Nope, I did all pictures under there. This is fun. I used 2 flip flaps on this one because this is my daughter's drive-by shower. And there was a bunch, when I was done, there was just a bunch of pictures of random stuff like the tablescape. And like, it's important when you're there, but then a year later, you're like, why did I take a picture of that? So anyway, so I actually was able to fit all of the pictures onto 2 pages because I picked the ones that were the most important. If I was doing the shower with all the games, but this is, you know, the Corona drive-by. So, all right, now we're up to a 4x3, and I used the yellow one that on the bottom says make lemonade, and I actually really liked that for this particular thing because I feel like we were making lemonade out of lemons by having her a drive-by shower, and it was a surprise shower. We were planning her shower, and twice it had to get canceled, so this one was a surprise shower. And so I made her dress up thinking she was just going to have a photo shoot. So when she came outside and it was all decorated, it was kind of fun. All right, so this make lemonade goes on page 2. And then on page 3, I used this pink one, 4x3 that says love, love, love. And again, if you're not committing to that, you can certainly change yours up later. There were some extras when we were said and done with it. All right, now we're still on to the 4x3s, and on this one I used, there's a sage one with the big flower that says walking on sunshine. And then as you're looking, there's also a pink one with the flowers on it. One side is pink and one side is gray with the flowers. Donna, there they are.
Okay.
All right, and they both go on page 4. All right, so page 5. It's a 4x3 that says time spent with you is time well spent. And I really enjoyed this because of the greens. We had gone for ice cream, and you know, like, this is nothing wrong with ice cream, right? For lemon paper. So
Is that a 3x4?
it's a 3.
4x6?
Yep, it's a 3x4.
I thought it was a 4x6.
Oh, it's a 4x6 that I cut down. Look at that.
Okay.
All right. Sure enough, look at that. Okay, so we have to cut that down. So on the tall side, here's how I did it. So because I'm turning this into a 4x3, and it is already 4 wide, so we want to make it 3. So this is 6, so we want to take 1.5 inches off of each, the top and the bottom. Glad y'all are watching me.
So you went this way.
I did mine the other way. I did mine so that it was vertical.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's for which page?
And that is for 5. So that's the one with the green. Yep. All right, so that's on page 5. And then on 6, all right, this is a 4x3. This one is a journaling piece that has a white flower with some pink, like pink sprays, and then lemon on the bottom. Here it is. See it, Donna?
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, so that went on page 6. All right, still going. All right, so on page 7, we went to the 4x6s. Now, a lot of times when I'm on that last page, just because we're using leftovers, I'll use a lot of these as mats as well, and it also gives a nice pop of color. So on this one, I used the Happiest Together. There it is, Happiest Together is on page 7. As well as, let me just triple check what this one is. Yep, it's this pink one. One side is blue and one side is pink. And it's like almost a diamond pattern. That's a 4x6 with that diamond pattern. And that goes on 7. And then the last one, it looks like it's yellow. Now this one did hurt my feelings to use as a mat because I thought this was so pretty. But I did it anyway. It's this yellow with the white medallions. Yep. This is the one that I used as another mat. And like I said, it did hurt my feelings a little bit to do it. But I like the yellow pop of color that was in there. So that's also on 7. And then on 8, I used, so let's go back to the 4x3s. We've got this white one that's a journaling spot with the flower on top. That's on page 8. I've got this sage. One side is sage and the other side is blue.
Got it.
That's a 4x3. That goes on 8. And then we've got the 4x6 that is the busy floral. One side is sage, busy floral, and lemons, and the other side is blue.
Got it.
All right, and that was on page 8 with the green side up. And then the last one was this love. Let me just triple check that that's correct. Nope, that's not correct. All right, so it's a pink one. Oh, here it is. Okay, so the pink one with this lemon and the flower. That was the other mat that I had used. So again, if this is something that you absolutely love these and want to use them to make cards or something else, then you can use them. You could even, actually that would be really pretty, is to cut that out. Yeah, cut it out as a decoration. So if you don't have a use for you and me, that could be your mat there. Your love, because you've got the pink on that. Once you put your photo on, you're not going to see that. So you can change these around. And this one with the tick marks, I really thought I would use this one as a mat, but I think against that busy tile underneath of it, I think that's why I did not. So we're going to put that on 8 anyway. And that's it. So these are our extras that you can use for journaling spots for other pages, or make cards out of them. All right, so I am going to make, oh, I can't fully make it because I don't have a photo. Dagnabbit. Okay, well, I'm going to start to make and show you how it's done. Now, I used a 4x6 photo as the base for this. All right, so this is the shaker element. Let me pull it back out. Okay, so the shaker element, I use the photo as the bottom. And you really can't make the shaker element until you have your photo, if you're going to use your shaker as you know, if you're going to use it that way. You kind of are going to need the photo. But I'm going to show you what to do anyway, and we'll pass it along so that everyone can be ready to do it. All right, so again, I was telling you I wanted the lighter side, so we're going to use the largest of the 3 frames that comes in the rectangular stitch die. We're going to put that through our Big Shot, or whatever die cutting machine you have. I'm very excited. Our die cut machine that we've had for a couple of years now is now going to be a commissionable item. Before, you could only get it as a hostess reward item. So it's now going to be available. So I'm finally going to get one. All right, so see what this makes? It makes this inside piece that's got the stitching around it. And this piece is going to go on page 1 as well. It makes a mat for my 4x3 photo where I did that flip flap. All right, so that goes on page 1. And then you want this little guy right here, the frame. This is trash or scraps. We'll move this out of the way. All right, you're going to cut your photo. So this is 5.5 by 4 1/4. So your photos are already 4. The inside is 4, so that's why. Okay, it works because the inside of this is 4. So what you might want to do is grab your scrap. You've got a scrap over there that is 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. So grab that scrap and cut it down to 5.5. So put it in the trimmer short and cut it down to 5.5. That way it's the exact same size as your frame. And then when your photo nestles in there, your sticker has a place to go. All right, so these little sets come with 2 sticky sheets, and then what's left in it is pop dots all the way around. Okay, so you want your outside one. We're going to take this off. I am going to start to build this. I just am not going to adhere everything because whoever buys this kit from me will want their own photo in there. Okay, so we're going to put this down right on the edge. Excuse my head. Now in this case, since I'm already doing this for this person, their photo will have to fit inside of this. Whereas if you had your photo, you would actually attach your photo onto this thing because it is onto this base. It's just because your photo is a little bit narrower than the base, okay? So you add your photo in, and then you're gonna add a few hearts. And I like the smaller ones for this. I don't want to use many because these hearts are a little bit wider and they did get a little bit stuck. So we're going to just use a few of those. And we're going to use a pinch of sequins. By the way, these jars, in case y'all didn't know, I'm loving especially the sequins in these jars, but all of our little embellishments I'm going to start putting in these jars. In the new book, they're going up by $1. These also fit in that ribbon round holder. If you see, I've stacked my my organizer up a little bit so I can add some more of these jars in. So, because if I put these away, I never use them. They just sit there. So I need to keep them out so that I'll use them up. Okay, so as you see, it's got this. Each of these has 3 different of your outside borders. You can create 3 different shakers with each card, so you're going to get 6 out of each. And then they also come with the acrylic toppers or the acetate toppers. So these acetate toppers do have a protective film on them, so you want to get that protective film off. A nice tip on how to do this is to use some washi tape. So you always have all that washi tape, and you might have some that's kind of like, I don't love that one. Yeah, well, that's the one you want to use. All right, so I'm going to put some washi tape on and pull it back off. Obviously, that's not the side that the acetate is on. So we're going to put that on, and then that's going to pull that acetate right off. See that fun little trick? Now, the other thing you're going to do, and again, I'm not going to pull this off because I'm planning on putting this in a kit because I sell all of my kits when I double do them, is you're going to pull this top piece off. So this is double-sided. You're going to pull this top piece off. You are going to use our, what are these called? Anti-static pouch. You're going to rub the anti-static pouch across the acetate so that when you put it down, see how these little guys jump? You want to put that anti-static pouch so that you're powdering that down a little bit so that when you put that down, your sequins don't jump on you. So you do need to put your head in frame so that you can get it on there straight. So once you have that on there, that's creating your shaker. Now you want to hide that. So you need a little bit of liquid glass or whatever kind of liquid adhesive you want to use and add that top frame to it. And ta-da, you've got your shaker. All right, so if you're rewatching this on Facebook land later, you'll see the people here are enthralled.
Yes, we are.
They're just enthralled with what I'm doing right now. They're mesmerized. All right, so I'm going to show off so y'all can get started. I've got to find a way to put this back in a baggie for whoever is going to get this lovely set of stuff. Now, are you gonna, did you want the die so you can cut your?
Yeah, I'll cut mine. I don't have my picture, so I'll have to.
You'll have to put it together later. All right, so let's put that on page 1. I'll hand this to Kathy, and then I'm gonna just quickly go through while we're still on video and just explain any other little thing that I might need to about these pages. And so back to page 1, you see where I did my shaker. And I also used in this shaker, I also used a few of the little white bits that were left over of those acrylic shapes, because there were several of those left over. Again, I did spray. I'll go in and spray these. I sprayed these and then used another flip flap. So let me go ahead and do a little spraying. Now, forewarning about this spray. I used Night. So this is a multimedia gloss spray. So it gives a nice bit of shine. If you look on the bottom, you see how that's white. That's because since it's settled, the like shiny stuff is all settled onto the bottom. So you want to shake this really good. And I usually get a box or something so that it doesn't splatter everywhere. So let me see what I can find. Because it will stain your table. I will be honest with you. This is no joke right here. So I'm going to put this.
That tan mat that you have?
Yes, it'll come off of that as long as you clean it immediately. So I have it over there on the table. But so we've got our all-purpose mat that cleans off of that very nicely as well. So one of the things that I've seen people doing lately, a fun little trick that I've been seeing people do, is rather than spraying, because the spray tends to go out more, is all you really have to do, you gotta make sure you get it shook up real good. All you really have to do is pull this out and just do a little splattering like that. Now, the spray is going to give a finer mist. Oh! See what happens there? See, the spray gives a slightly finer mist, whereas that gives a little more splatter. So I'm going to do a little bit of both for this person's base pages. And again, I'm just trying to be very, very careful so I don't get everything in my vicinity. And then I'm just going to do some larger splatters. All right. And we'll let that dry and let me go clean up the fingers. Actually, I want just a little more because I want it to match the other one a little bit better. All right, that's enough. And that actually does dry pretty quickly on your paper, but you need to clean it off of your table pretty quickly. Let me go find. I have alcohol wipes everywhere, except for when you need them right away. Yeah, that's coming up pretty well. Noel. All right, so we'll set that off to the side. I feel like I've cleaned up pretty good.
You cleaned up pretty good.
Cleaned up pretty good, that's right. All right, so page 1. I don't want to lay too much down in case it's not dry yet. Let's see if there's anything else I need to add on page 1. You see you've got the mat, you've got that mat, and then you've got your the inside of that die. And then page 2, Now this one was kind of fun. Again, I had more pictures than I had room because I didn't want to mess up the way my layout was done. So that's why I used a flip flap on the top and I used one upside down on the bottom, and I just have them going up and down. And I actually am going to be doing a video. See, my daughter would not like that picture, so that one needs to be inside because she would not love seeing that picture. I'm going to do a separate video that I will post here and on YouTube that shows all the ways that I recommend doing flip flaps, because in this case, since it's on both sides, you would either cut an entire square, and everything's protected, so you could cut an entire square out of your page protector and just throw it in the trash, so this whole thing would be sticking up on the top and you could pop it open. You could also, you'd have to like eyeball it really well. You can cut little slits in your page protector and then slide that right through, cut a little slit in the bottom and slide that right through so that they will open and close. So the other trick with page protectors that I like to tell people, they always close like a book. So you want the outside to be like the outside binding of a book. You want the opening to be inside because you don't want your stuff to fall out. So you want to make sure, let me grab one real quick. All right, this is a 4x4. You want to make sure your opening is here. You want to make sure that it's folded over. So the adhesive is going to be on the bottom. Your pictures are in like you want them. You've triple checked them to make sure that they're right. And then when you lay it down on your paper, so let's just do it for instance. Here's where I want it to be. Now I know this is not really, but this is where I want it to be. I've got it where I want it. I know exactly where it's going to be. I'm holding it down with one hand. I go under with the other hand. And I start to pull that adhesive, and I get that adhesive just like a tab gone up. I'm not going to lay it down and do that because I don't want to ruin this, but you make sure it's still where you want it to be, lay it down, and then you can just pull that tab just like you're pulling a Band-Aid. So that is the easiest way that I know of to adhere our flip flaps. Alrighty, so next is page 3 and 4, which is this fun little triangles on the bottom. It's actually fairly easy. There's nothing really major to this one. You just want to layer your dark blue first, then your light blue, your photo mats, put your best on the top. And you want to put your little acrylic shapes down. And I have this sticker over here. And then the second page. Oh, do you want? Okay. So then your second page, these guys are at the top. And then I've got these two strips on either side of the pictures. So that one's really easy to follow. You want to start with. Have you started? Can she have that one since she already started laying that one down? And I'll give you this one. Here you go. All right. 5 and 6. These are probably, except for my shaker one, these are two of my favorites. All right. So we have a sticker on pop dots. We've got another sticker on pop dots. We've got that little tag sticker. Now these white acrylic shapes, I used a pink alcohol marker to color those in. Did you know that you can use alcohol blending markers to color our acrylic shapes? Well, you can. So you can now make your acrylic shapes any color that you want them to if they come in white. So you can use that to color them in. You do have to wait for it to dry a little bit and then do a second layer if you want it a little bit darker. I didn't mind mine being kind of on the light side. So you've got your large square centered here. Actually, your largest square is centered here on the bottom with your lemons. And then you've got your yellow with the diamonds. You've got your photos and your strip. your other strip. And so, yep, easy, easy. Then this one, Getaway, is at the top. Another Fantastic is on Pop Dots. My journaling spot is on Pop Dots. And I did make this go straight across. So I've got, this is 4 inches, so it goes all the way across, so that went right there with that 4-inch piece. All right, so I think that's it. More of these are colored. And the not hardest, but the new thing that you couldn't figure out on your own just by following along is possibly this shaker. And you could have figured that out too. But that's the only thing that's really a little bit of something different that we did on this one. That and the splattering. So there we go. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to add the pictures. And thanks for joining me tonight. And I'll see you at our next workshop. Bye.